Now, levels 2 and 3 makes the base layer of anxiety you're having before the trip so much worse and so much more intense. It feels like it's going to help. It feels like you're, trying to work on all these things to feel better, but it actually makes it feel so much more intense and worse. Welcome to Renee Restorative Counseling. I'm Kate, the owner of this practice and a licensed clinical social worker and therapist. And today I'm going to talk about the 3 layers of suffering that we tend to experience with anxiety and panic attacks and how to get out of that. I do want to give a disclaimer before we start that this content is geared more towards individuals struggling with an irrational fear or phobia of discomfort and how they feel when they are feeling anxious or having a panic attack, leading to avoidance that could actually be more destructive. In no way is the content here a blanket statement for all anxiety and panic attacks, so please seek out your own support with a licensed therapist, whether that's me or someone else, to do an individualized treatment plan with you one-on-one. An ACT therapist who I really love, Aida Becco, talks about the 3 layers of suffering that we experience when having anxiety and panic attacks. And we really don't need to experience layers 2 and 3, really just layer 1, but we end up layering layers 2 and 3 and it makes our suffering so much worse. So we're going to talk here about what we can do instead to just stay at that first base layer. So layer 1 is the uncomfortable feeling that we have. The anxiety, the panic, the physical sensation, the thought that just feels really scary or uncomfortable. It's a lot of the what if thinking and, racing thoughts or racing heart, a stomach ache. So that's layer 1. But then layer 2, we add on all of the forevering, I like to call it, where we just say we're going to be stuck this way forever. I'm never going to get rid of this physical symptom. I'm going to feel this way forever. The thoughts will never go away. I'll always be scared of having a panic attack and having more of them. And you just get stuck in this cycle of saying, I'm going to experience this forever. It'll never go away. And basically, we create a dangerous narrative out of what we're feeling and experiencing. And then on top of that, we add layer 3, which is trying to control this and control something that we cannot control. So then we fail at it and then we suffer even more. We say, I'm going to try to get rid of this thought or do better or logic my way through it or try more coping techniques or meditations, and it doesn't work. We still feel terrible back at layer 1. That feeling is still there. The thought, whatever the uncomfortable thing is still there. And then we say, well, I tried to get rid of it and it didn't work. I failed, and we suffer even more. So what we want to do is remove layer 3 and 2. So we're back just with layer 1. But what happens is we're left still with the uncomfortable feeling in layer 1. It's still unpleasant. We're left with an unpleasant human experience, a somatic feeling, a thought, whatever it is, but it's still unpleasant. And what happens is we usually think, well, layer 1 should feel better now because I tried all these things. I tried to control it. I tried to get rid of it. I tried to allow and accept my way through it. So it should feel better, but it's not. So I failed, or I'm stuck this way. And we get so stuck in that cycle that now our suffering isn't just, we're not just experiencing this uncomfortable thing, which we should let ourselves experience because it's safe to and we can. But now we're suffering because we are blaming ourselves for not being able to feel better. And we're freaking out about, will I be this way and feel this way forever? And the suffering just completely blows up. We cannot escape level 1, the level 1 of just whatever the uncomfortable feeling and sensation is. And that's what we want to feel. We want to feel that. We don't want level 2 and 3 going on. We don't want to add a dangerous story to it that we're going to be stuck this way forever and, forevering about all of it. And we don't want to try to control it because those are the things that get us stuck in the anxiety disorder because we're resisting. So what that leaves us with is just the uncomfortable sensation, thought, fear, whatever it is, and just feeling it, which we can't escape. We can't escape that base level uncomfortable sensation and feeling, and that's not the goal here. The goal is to get better at feeling that uncomfortable sensation, thought, emotion, whatever it is with this type of anxiety and panic. The goal is to actually feel it and not fight against it or try to get rid of it or forever ourselves into suffering and doom and despair. But we can make it easier to feel. We actually make it easier to feel whatever's at just base layer number 1 by allowing ourselves to feel it. The more we try to resist feeling it, then the harder it is to actually feel it, and the more suffering comes along with it. You're going to feel it no matter what, but we might as well let ourselves feel what's there versus adding on all this other suffering of I'm not doing it right, I'm failing, I don't want to feel this, let's try to get rid of it, and that actually ramps it up. So let's just feel what's there at the base level. For example, let's say you get really anxious when traveling and you have a trip coming up, a flight, whether there's a fear of flying or just traveling in general, being away from home is something that you don't like. And it causes a lot of anxiety or panic attacks. So layer 1 is the anxiety that you're feeling, the panic attack that may be happening, the anticipatory anxiety. That's huge with travel. You're anticipating the flight itself or the trip. So you might have a stomach ache, you might not be able to sleep, there could be dread and gloom and you know, like feeling something bad is going to happen. All of those emotions, that's just level 1. Those are not dangerous to feel at all. They're okay to feel, they're safe to feel, they're just really uncomfortable. So what we end up doing is adding on level 2, creating a dangerous narrative, a dangerous meaning out of what's here at level 1 and what we're feeling. So level 2 is creating this dangerous thought of, I'm going to feel this way forever, this is dangerous, these feelings are dangerous, I shouldn't be feeling this anxiety, it's scary, and I'll never be able to get rid of it, I'll feel this way forever. What if something else happens? What if I freak out on the plane? What if, you know, just all the what ifs come in and you make this big story out of it. That's level 2 that we typically pile on to level 1. And then we add in level 3, and that's looking at trying to control it, trying to get rid of it. And that could go as far as like, you know what, I'm just gonna cancel the trip altogether. Or it could be, I need to try to take my sour gummies with me on the trip to try to regulate if I do panic. I need to have my safe person. I need to be distracted the whole time. I need to be listening to calm music or meditation. I need to be tense the whole time to try to fight off in case I start to feel something and be ready to run to the bathroom or have an escape route. All the things that we try to do to control what we're feeling or get rid of what we're feeling, that's level 3. Now levels 2 and 3 makes the base layer of anxiety you're having before the trip so much worse and so much more intense. It feels like it's going to help. It feels like you're, you know, trying to work on all these things to feel better, but it actually makes it feel so much more intense and worse. So what we do is remove level 3 of trying to control everything and get rid of how we're feeling. Remove level 2 of saying, I'm going to be stuck this way forever. You know you won't because, you know, you've probably had panic attacks and anxiety and you got through them and did not get stuck that way. But then we're left with just base layer 1, you know, level 1 of the anxiety that was there to begin with, of the dread feeling, of the stomach ache, of the headache, of insomnia, of crying, you know, all the symptoms you may have before a trip, and they still don't feel good to feel. It's not like, you know, we're going to come back to it and it's supposed to feel good. It's still going to feel bad and unpleasant, but it's easier to handle when you aren't piling on layers 2 and 3 of trying to control it and create this big narrative out of it. We cannot escape what level 1 brings us. We cannot escape that anxiety that comes up before the trip, just with the example that we're using here. Know that it's going to be there. Expect it to be there. And then you can work with it. Work with the level 1 anxiety that's here instead of against it. Bring it along with you. Do all the other things you want to do that day while this is still here. And that is showing your brain that it can exist with the anxiety, that it doesn't have to fight it off, that it's safe to feel. And eventually this level 1 anxiety, you know, it may kind of go down a little bit. It could go down a lot, or it could be there forever, but you don't, you know, view it as such a big, scary thing because it's not big and scary anymore. It's just uncomfortable. It's so much about how we are interpreting what is happening. So we can feel really off and really anxious, but then again, level 2 is interpreting it as, oh my God, this is terrible. I'm gonna be stuck this way forever and I'm gonna feel this way on the plane. And what if I get sick then? And it's so much about how we're interpreting what's happening here when really we could just interpret it as, this doesn't feel good. Okay, yeah, back to whatever I was doing. And this is because it's safe to feel. We don't like it, but it's safe to feel. It's like if you get a bug bite that is itchy and, you know, the itchiness lasts for a couple days and it's really annoying, but we're not freaking out about it. We don't create this big narrative. Like level 1 is, I'm itchy because I have a bug bite. Level 2 would be, oh my God, this is never gonna go away. What if the itchiness never stops? What if I get more bug bites and it just gets worse and worse and I scratch it open and then it gets infected and, you know, that's level 2. Level 3 is, well, what should I do to make sure I don't feel this way? Should I buy a bunch of itch cream? Should I just not go outside when the mosquitoes are bad at night? Should I wear long layers to make sure bugs can't bite me? And those are all things that, yeah, you can do that, sure. But the issue is when we try to do all those changes with level 3 and it really starts to change our lives and our routine. If you want to wear longer layers when you're outside in the evening because mosquitoes are bad and you don't want bug bites, that's not really changing your whole life and routine and avoiding things. Like, those are okay to do. Those are healthy choices to make. Go ahead and do them. It's when we decide, like with the flight example, to completely cancel a trip or say that, going on the trip is dangerous itself because of how we're feeling. So again, with a bug bite, you might do things to reduce the next time you get a bug bite, but you probably aren't panicking and saying, this is going to last forever. How do I make sure I never have this again? And, this is annoying. I'll probably wear longer sleeves next time and, maybe wear some bug spray. And that's that. You don't stick with it and think about that for days and forever. And think about, well, what about the next time I get a bug bite? What am I going to do? It's no, we'll wear some bug spray and all right, cool, back to it. We want to treat anxiety the same exact way. This type of anxiety, this type of panic where we are afraid of how we're feeling on the inside, treat it the same way. We'll deal with it if there's actually a danger going on and there's actually something we can do about it. But usually with this type of anxiety, there's not something we can do because it's just an internal alarm going off at the wrong time for the wrong reason. So we just have to accept and allow it because what else is there to do? The more you fight against it, the stronger it's going to get. So remember those 3 levels, those 3 layers when you're feeling anxious and figuring out, how do I just stay at level 1? What am I doing to, am I forevering with level 2? Am I making this a really big, scary story where really it's not, it just feels uncomfortable? And then am I adding on level 3 of trying to control and get rid of it? And see if you can peel back those, levels 3 and 2 and just be at level 1. If you're interested in doing more of this type of work with your anxiety and panic, that is what I do here in session with clients. I am a licensed clinical social worker and therapist, and I work with clients in DC, Virginia, Maryland, Indiana, and Michigan, fully virtual.